Jambo mambo familia angu, karibu karibu karibu, habari yako. Familia angu, this is Eli-Ben-Eli, and I wanted to discuss certain things that are happening on the streets of Nabohansit. Uh, you know, there are situations in life in which two people are in association and one needs the other more and may not even know it. I look at that situation in between Alex and Marwa, and personally, I think anybody who has a kind heart should be rejoicing that Marwa has fired Alex and falling out with Alex. Why is that? Whether Marwa knows it or not, he needs Alex a lot more than Alex needs him. It's like, and by the way, the personal, I'm trying to understand her motivation. I'm trying to understand her state of mind, but I really can't say that I do. The person who encouraged him to go ahead and fire Alex was his wife, Rocio, which is totally incredible because the the person who seems to treat her with a certain measure of dignity, the person who helps her bait the horses and is always very polite to her, happens to be Alex. But I think that at some point or the other, uh, it's like he's going to realize it. Mara is going to realize it was a mistake firing Alex. Alex is almost like a slave to Mara. He does anything and everything that Mara wants. The list of jobs that man has takes up 24 hours of the day, and it's kind of like it borders on being ridiculous, and one person is being asked to fulfill all of those duties. And if he says, "Oh, I'm sick," his boss takes offense. "Oh, he's disrespecting me." Really? When Mara had pneumonia or malaria, whatever he claimed that he had, personally, I think it was constipation. But whatever he had, did anybody question him? Did anybody accuse him of anything? No, people left him in peace because it's understood that any human being can get sick, except for a slave. And quite honestly, that's all that poor man was. He was a slave to Mara. He was overworked. He had too many duties. He was expected to be there 24 hours a day. And you see what happens if he just steps away for a little bit of time. Suddenly Mara is acting like a little female puppy, just completely whining and, "Oh, yeah, I'm being disrespected." Son, you're not worth respecting to begin with. You don't behave like someone that anybody would feel any respect for. Anyway, going back to Valentine's Day, something really sad and frightening happened. Frightening for me because a friend of mine was involved. A friend of mine moved to Kansas City and was very happy because here in Dallas we have one of the most expensive football teams in America, and they have one problem: they can't win a Super Bowl. Which to me, it doesn't matter one way or the other, but you have to occasionally, to amuse yourself, pretend that you care about certain kind of things. But anyway, my friend decided that he was gonna go to the. Oh, by the way, if you don't know it, Kansas City, the football team in Kansas City won the Super Bowl. And if you know anything about Americans, Americans are remarkably happy. At the when their team, they call it their team, the team that they support wins a Super Bowl. So he was very happy, and he was gonna go to the parade, and you know, because people in this area in this country take American football very seriously. I pretended that I was a full-hearted supporter of the local team, and I was upset and everything. And in between you and me, I could care less who wins or who loses a Super Bowl. Just it puts no beans or rice or ugali on my plate, to be very honest with you. But there's a new pastime in America. I call it a new sport, a new art form, and it's usually played by young psychopathic men. I call it how many people can you kill before you get killed? And in America right now, you shouldn't feel comfortable going to church, a synagogue, any public event, any store, because in any of those places, one of those kind of young men can walk in, pull out a high capacity assault gun, with a high capacity clip, and simply kill several people. Sometimes they kill themselves, sometimes they're captured, sometimes they're killed by the police. Nowhere is safe. It happens in schools, it happens in places of worship, it happens at public parades, which is what happened at the Kansas City parade. But it was kind of different. What actually happened at the Kansas City parade was that apparently two different groups of people got in an argument. And what is the American West famous for? Okay, at least back in time, gunfights. So they had a gunfight. 21 people were injured. One person died. I don't know if maybe more have died at this point. You know, I have not felt as scared. This man is like a little brother to me. I have not felt as scared in a long time when I heard about that. You know, the last time that I was that frightened was an occasion that happened when federal marshals came to my house. There was a man that I knew who uh, was facing a crime. He was in the United States illegally. I really didn't wasn't friends with him or anything. I just have met him once, and he claimed that he lived in my house at one point. They had him in jail. He escaped from the jail. He was living in a house with a man who he murdered, and then he got me involved by claiming that he had lived with me, which was a complete and total lie. And I wasn't scared about the fact that I knew someone who had killed a couple of people. I've known people who have killed a lot more. So that's the kind of work that I used to do. I was a trial lawyer in criminal cases. I've met a lot of people who have committed multiple murders. It doesn't scare me. The man was here in this country illegally, and so the federal marshals were involved. And this is what scared me. They came to my home looking for this man, and I told them that he had lied to them, that me and him did not have that kind of friendship. He had never lived with me, no matter what he said. That wasn't what scared me. Uh, you know, the average person in this country is not going to meet a federal agent, an FBI agent, or any of those kind of. You just don't meet them because we live quiet lives. We're not involved with people who have problems that merit their intervention, so we don't meet them. But I had a marshal in my house, and that wasn't what scared me. What scared me was that he had a man with him who spoke with a heavy Hebrew accent, and identified himself as a Mossad agent. You know, this man that they were looking for was from Mexico. So my question immediately became, why would a Mossad agent come to my home? Now, as most of you know, I happen to be a Jew. Whether you're a Jew or not, if you live in this world, if you haven't been living under a rock, you understand something. The Mossad feared assassins. They have, you do not play with the Mossad. They can kill you and get away with it. No one will ever know that they did it. Personally, my attitude at the time was I was speaking out against a government of Benjamin Netanyahu, who I consider to be a despicable Nazi. I dislike him. And people think that just because you're a Jew, you're supposed to be happy with everything that happens in Israel. I'm not. I hate what's going on in Gaza. I hate the behavior of the Netanyahu government. I was terrified what this Mossad agent was actually in my home to do. I was afraid that he was there to check out my home and that maybe at some point or the other I was going to have another visit in which I was going to catch a bullet because the Mossad, that's the main thing that they're known for. Why else would he be in my home? And he acted like if he owned my home. He looked around, uh, looked around, saw the objects that I have in my home, and asked me, "Are you a Sephardic Jew?" And I told him, "Yes, I am," because I consider myself that. For that's a long story. And he looked around at the walls and he said, "I see that you're an artist." And I said, "Yes, I am. I like to paint." And I was so incredibly frightened. I was saying to myself, you know, me speaking out against Benjamin Netanyahu, I'm gonna get killed. And I was terrified and by the grace of God, they didn't stay in my home very long. By the grace of God, I'm still here, I'm still alive, but I felt very afraid. It's like, imagine that a man-eating lion walked into your house and is just roaming around your house. How would you feel? That's how I felt. And that's how I felt about my little brother of the heart maybe being dead. Because my attitude was, who's to say who they killed at this? Life has a weird way of working. Sometimes what you least expect is what happens. So I was very worried, but it turns out that he's okay. And strange story. Don't mess with military people. Alex is an ex-military man. Okay, if there's one person in society, in most societies, that are feared, it's the ex-military. Why is that? For a period of time while they're active military, these people kill others as a profession. They know how to do it, they know how to get away with it, they know how to do it stealthily. You don't want to treat a soldier like if he's a piece of rag that you can clean your behind with, because you never know when in the middle of the night over your bed the last thing that you see standing is that military man. Okay. And don't ask me what I used to do for a living. Don't ask me how I know this. Well, I said that I used to be a criminal lawyer, but there was a time that I did other things. That wall, that perimeter wall around Marwa's property, a soldier, a good soldier, could get over that wall so quickly. And now that Marwa does not have an ex-soldier guarding that facility, if that man feels that he was treated unjustly, that he has an affair to settle with Mara, I would not want to be Mara if he woke up one night He has no dogs. He has no animals that alert you if an intruder is on your property. What would happen if that man decided, my dear Marwa, your money is no good with me. You can keep all the money that you owe me. There's only one way that you can pay me that will satisfy me. And he shows up in the middle of the night. My friends, it is dangerous to cross ex military people. I mean, let's face it, what do soldiers do? Soldiers are trained to take lives. They're not people that are as good to cross. It's very dangerous. Those roads in Nyabohanse are very isolated. Anything can happen to a man, and who would know who did what? Anyway, I'm kind of happy for Alex. You know, not all good money is good money. Not all money is good money. Being around Marwa, he might have thought he was doing something that was good. No, Marwa is a toxic person. Folks, if you haven't liked and subscribed to my channel, please like and subscribe. May you have a wonderful week. Thank you very much, Asante Asana, for watching this long. Quiety.